hope you're all well. My name is Pasqueline and welcome back to my channel where we get to talk about all issues motherhood and mental health. And today we have a special guest with us and we'll let her introduce herself. We're going to be talking issues postpartum depression. We just want to understand quite a bit in regards to postpartum depression. What is it? What are the signs so that any mom out there can benefit from just understanding postpartum depression deeper, and then they know when they need to seek help. So without further ado, I will let my special guest today introduce herself. Welcome, Goretti. Welcome to my channel, and thank you so much for agreeing to come and be with us today.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. So my name is Goretti Akinyi. I'm a trained nurse midwife with over 15 years of experience. Currently, I am with Amref International University running a program called Tunza Mama. Tunza Mama is a program that mainly focuses on midwives because there's a gap out there on education of mothers who are expecting babies. They do not know what to really expect other than just getting up, going to the doctor, seeing your midwife, getting the supplements and going back home. There's not much education that is being given to these mothers in preparation for childbirth. I'm also a trainer. I do a lot of trainings with a program called Elizabeth International. Elizabeth Projects International is an affiliate of Lamaze International, where we train also healthcare workers and people who are passionate about everything mothers and babies. So I'm also trained as a psychosocial support person. So this psychosocial support component of counseling is where you work with mothers literally through their everyday life, social interaction, and at the same time supporting their mental health.
Awesome work you're doing, Goretti. So thank you so much for the introduction. So let's just go straight to postpartum depression. I just want you to give us like a brief definition of what postpartum depression is. What is postpartum depression?
So postpartum depression is a perinatal mood disorder. Peri to mean it can happen during pregnancy or after pregnancy. So it is a disorder that overwhelms the mother. Either it's also an anxiety disorder that is mostly, and it is postpartum because this one is mainly associated with pregnancy and afterbirth. So this is a disorder that can occur during pregnancy or after pregnancy within a year after delivery of a baby. It is like a big hole that is so dark that you do not know how to get yourself out of it, in a nutshell. So that is what it is.
Now that we talked about the big hole that you do not know how to get yourself out of, just for that person who does not, because there are so many moms who, they just see postpartum depression, but they do not exactly understand, how will I know that I am depressed? What am I supposed to be feeling like to know that I could be depressed? So what are those signs and symptoms that you would say are common for most mothers, for them to know there is a red flag here, I might not be okay?
Generally, if a mother is expecting, just from the English word expectation, it means that it should be a good thing. But you find that mothers who are suffering from postpartum depression, they have nothing to be happy about. They're irritable, they're incessantly crying. Any small thing can trigger them into a cry. They have they don't sleep, or they sleep too much. They do not eat, or they eat too much. And then they do not have that spark which every mother is waiting for. That instinct which you're told that when you're a mother, the instinct just checks in. There's an inability to bond with your baby. Everybody looks at you and marvels and is happy that a baby is here, except you, the mother of this baby. And when you get, because let me just go back a little bit, this is what we call the baby blues that can persist into postpartum depression. The baby blues are also, it's just the same thing. It's an anxiety of not being sure whether you can handle this task that you have. So if this baby blues persist for more than 2 weeks, then we could easily classify you as suffering from postpartum depression. So if you are incessantly crying, if you're irritable, if you're not happy that you're actually a mother, and things that you used to do no longer excite you or you don't want to do them, and you feel like you're withdrawing from people, especially family and friends, you do not want to answer your phone, you do not want people to come and visit your baby, those could be the red flags, and they're the most common signs that someone could be going through postpartum depression. Yes.
Is it possible that you are 2 years postpartum and you have postpartum depression?
Postpartum depression, by its own definition, it occurs within a year. But there's if you're 2 years after delivery and you're experiencing some of these symptoms that I have just mentioned, then it is also important that you get checked out and get evaluated, just to rule out that it is not because of the postpartum period that you're getting into this kind of depression. We have a beautiful way of coping with issues. Even people who suffer from postpartum depression can easily cover it and you don't get to see it. Unfortunately, it usually catches up with individuals if you do not get help. So it is possible that you had covered this period within the year that a classic diagnosis can be given within a period of 12 months. It is possible that the period of 12 months you covered it beautifully, and 2 years later you get a trigger that then sends you back to your delivery postpartum days. So yes, it can also be diagnosed 2 years after delivery, but the classical definition of it is if you're suffering from it and you're able to pick it out within 12 months of delivery.
Okay. Goretti, I just want to understand, what are the risk factors for postpartum depression?
Most of them are socio-economic. The major risk factor for postpartum depression is the socio-economic component of an individual. Other things that can be pegged to it is history of mental illness, either in an individual, this mother who's had a baby, or if they have a family history of mental illness. Another thing would be multiple babies, like pregnancy of twins, triplets. So the overwhelming feeling of taking care of this baby, the anxiety that comes with, will I be able to manage? Like for instance, if you're expecting triplets, your general reasoning would be, God gave me only 2 breasts, how am I going to take care of 3, 4 children? So that anxiety, you find that it can go with you during pregnancy into after delivery, that you keep carrying it on, worrying on how am I going to take care of this whole thing. And then there's also people who have issues with their thyroid glands. Yes, so there's that, the hormonal imbalance bit that can also predispose such people to, can make them be at risk of getting the postpartum depression. However, no one is exempted. Anybody can go, any woman who's of childbearing age and has had a baby can suffer postpartum depression, even when all factors are constant, including your economic status. Yes.
But is it a must that you get? It's not a must that you get postpartum depression with your next baby? If you have
not a must if you seek support and help, because most of the time you find that postpartum depression, just like you said, it is a topic that is not discussed a lot. And it can also pass us. And the stigma surrounding postpartum depression, such as so many people have had babies. What is so important about Pasqueline's baby?
Yes.
So that one throws you off, then you don't get yourself to seek help because there's no support around you. So you find that that one then escapes without a diagnosis and without support. So then it can predispose you in your subsequent pregnancies. And that is, I would say that that is usually like the most common cause of postpartum depression among mothers who are not first-time mothers. Because if you now go back with them and take history of their previous pregnancies and deliveries, you realize that something was off that was not picked at that point. Then now it is recurring, or it is now out of hand, or somebody else has seen it and directed this mother to go and seek help elsewhere. Yes.
Okay, and we have been seeing a lot of cases of mothers killing their own children, others killing their own children and then killing themselves. And some of them are during that period of 1 year postpartum and in the course of that 1 year. Would you say that there is a relation between the act, what happened, with the mother's mental state at that point?
Yeah.
Is there like a relationship between the act, what she did, and her mental state at that point?
Yeah, like I said that there's postpartum blues, the baby blues, that when they persist, it becomes postpartum depression. You find that severe postpartum depression can lead into something that is called postpartum psychosis. And this psychosis is so severe that the mothers, some of the most common symptoms of it is hallucinations, and now these acts of harming either self or the baby. So the hallucinations and can lead these mothers into harming their babies also. So this is a very severe form of postpartum depression that can lead these mothers into these acts of being dangerous either to self and the babies they're taking care of. Yeah. And
So
this requires, you find that this the intervention is more intense, that it even requires institutionalization of this mother, so that she goes through the whole treatment process. Yeah,
I hear you. And you know, like even when we have baby showers, I feel like we need to have the mental health talks in those conversations. When we're talking about, sometimes you just go and give them a picture of mothers, upcoming moms, or the expectant moms.
Yes.
We just give them a picture of how they're going to have this bundle of joy, they'll just be cute and nice and all that. But forget to tell them the honest conversation about that it could also come with its challenges. And that there's also something called postpartum depression, there's something called postpartum anxiety, there's something called this and that, that you need to also be aware of, and so that you also know how to also prevent yourself from getting to that extreme end of postpartum depression. So when you see the signs early enough, then you're able to seek help early enough. So probably that's something that we need to advocate for more, that even as we're having those conversations and we want to make the mom just know how awesome it would be to be a mom, let's also tell them the truth, so that then they know that they're able to look out for it soon enough. They don't have to wait until they've suffered and so many things have happened for them to know that they were not okay. Then this mom has now realized that I think I have these signs, I think I have these symptoms, and it feels like I am not myself, like I'm really struggling in this motherhood journey. What is next for her? Like now I feel the signs, where do I seek help? Where do I start? Where is my journey to, where do I start my journey to recovery?
Okay, so this is the reason why actually this Twins of Mama was, this is among the reasons why Twins of Mama is being pushed for, so that most midwives, these things are not like what you're talking about right now, postpartum depression. It is just a topic amongst the topics that you have in the School of Midwifery, for instance. This is dwelt upon in probably those who are doing counseling, the psychologists and the psychiatrists. They're the ones who go in depth with these kind of talks. So we are looking for midwives to bridge this gap where even as a midwife or a caregiver in an institution, you can be able to pick from the trends of the mother. How she bonds with her baby when she comes to the clinic, how she keeps her schedules and her appointments for clinic. Those can be the places where you actually get to pick that something is happening to this mother. She might not have realized it, but we can explore with her. But for mothers who have probably known, have listened to this, they look at their own symptoms and they're like, I think I have one or two of these symptoms. It would be nice to just get out there. When you're going for your routine care, just mention it to the healthcare worker that I find myself crying a lot for things that never used to make me cry. I'm too emotional, or I overreact when my baby does something, or I'm having these thoughts that I think are harmful to me and to my baby. Then a referral system is usually available in the health facilities, where you can be told when to go or where to go and get help, because they're counselors in these institutions. You can be referred to the counselor so that you can go and seek help with the counselor. So with the evaluation, then the counselor will do something called a mental status assessment of you, and then they can be able to let you know what the program will look like. Some of the ways would be just counseling, the psychotherapy. Others might include referral to a higher provider, who is either now a psychologist or a psychiatrist, who will then prescribe medication to you. Yeah. Another thing would be letting people around you know that even their presence makes you feel empty. They might know other places where they can send you to, where you can get a support group and get people who understand, probably have gone through what you have gone through, or understand exactly what you're feeling when you say, today I'm feeling like I don't want to bathe, or I don't want to get out of bed, or I don't even want to eat. So these support groups can also be one way of just getting yourself out of this hole. But getting to share this information with someone that I am feeling lost in this whole journey is one step to recovery. And it is really a huge one, because by that you have acknowledged that, you know what, I thought this would be different, but the way I am feeling it, it's actually not what I was told during the baby showers. It is not actually what I have been watching in the movies. And it is not actually what I saw my friend do or was with her baby. Yeah.
And about the midwives, you know, when I started Calmine Foundation, I was because I went through postpartum depression. And so at that time, when I was trying to understand it better, one of the things that I have given birth in at least 2 hospitals. I have 3 babies. I've given birth in at least 2 hospitals. And the whole of this journey, nobody got to talk to me about how I am doing mentally. So even when we went for the 6 weeks clinic, we just talked about how the baby is doing. The third one I had a CS, so how is your CS1 doing and all that. So your physical well-being, they ask. When it comes to the mental well-being, nobody asks about that. And so what I did, I asked one of the nurses at the facility. So when you are even doing the Lamaze classes, because their moms were coming and you're telling them about everything physical, how comes you never tell them about their mental health? How comes you never tell them that there's something called depression, postpartum anxiety, and everything that they need to know in that area? And she was very honest with me, and she told me, we also do not have this information. So we are hesitant to give this information. So it's an area that we are not very willing to venture into because we don't have this information. To some extent, I understood where she was coming from. But you see, I felt like my opinion now is that probably the health facilities need to do better in terms of ensuring that the mental well-being of the moms is also taken care of. Some of the booklets that are given in hospitals, when they talk about breastfeeding, it's there. When they talk about danger signs, nutrition, all those things are there. But where is the mental health of these moms? How comes you don't give so much regard to the mental health of these moms? So it is an unfortunate thing, and this is just my thought that probably we need to raise our voices, and that's why we are doing this. And I'm really happy that you're open to having this conversation, because it's something I think we need to do more often, so that we make sure that the information goes out there and the mental health is included, you know, as a priority also up there, not just as a by the way. When things have really gone haywire, that's when we remember, she might be suffering from postpartum depression, you know. So thank you so much, Goretti.
Thank you.
And for the insight that you've given to the moms, I'm sure they've really benefited from this conversation. But I just want, as we close and as we finish this conversation, I want you to just give a warm message to a mom out there who might be going through what you're talking about right now. She is in that dark hole that she is not sure how she'll be able to get herself out of. What would you want to tell her?
Dear mothers, this is not something that is unique to you. This is something that is common across mothers who are having babies. And if you're feeling lost in any way, please reach out, even to your spouse, to your support system, or to your healthcare provider. Even if they do not know what to do, at least they will have somewhere to refer you to. this is not your fault, and you are doing a great job at trying to hang in there and not get out there and expose yourself. Be vulnerable for the support. The support out there, out here, there is support. So we just want you to make the bold step of coming out and letting us know that it is not what you expected it to be.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Goreti. So there you have it, moms. You are not alone. That is the key message here. You are not alone. And with help, you can be okay. So thank you so much, moms, for watching this, and thank you so much for everybody who has taken their time to watch this video. We really appreciate you taking your time, and kindly do subscribe down here so that you're notified every time that we upload a video. Next week we are going to start our conversations with moms, or moms who have been gracious enough to just agree to give their stories with postpartum depression, so that then you understand deeper what was in the minds, or what was we get into their story and understand how it affected them. And I think we are going to learn a lot from them just sharing their stories. So thank you so much. Do have a good time. Bye.